when we're the center of all of that, we're exhausted and other people are frustrated because we become the bottleneck. The motivation for me is it's kind of funny. It's like I have to take care of myself, not so I can take care of myself, but I
Welcome
have
to
to.
Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Eden, like the this top to bottom, I always describe it like this to organizations, so maybe they can have an idea. This is how, in my view, how it is. Imagine that you have um, that you are in the sea and you have to turn right. So what happened with the top to bottom organization is that this is like a Titanic. This is a big boat one, and when you said, okay, let's turn right, then imagine it takes time to turn right this big giant boat, because it's like a Titanic, it's huge. However, when people are working with exactly as you described, now you're not talking about a big Titanic, you're talking about 3,000 little boats where they have their own little captain on top, and then there is a little boat at the top, which is at the in the front, which is the top, the little boat of the CEO. But guess what happened when the first boat said turn right? All the
Right.
3,000 boats turn right very quickly. So they have the ability to respond to change faster than the big top to bottom Titanic. And so what we are discussing here, this is not a theory, is to solve one of the biggest challenges that business have out there, and we all have, which is the speed of response to change. Because if you cannot respond to change faster, some big corporations, you see, Blockbuster, you name it, they just go out of business because um, the speed of responding to change, it was they were so big, the organization in a top to bottom formation, that when we had to produce a response to change, it's really slow, and all of a sudden the company collapse and nobody even knows what happened. So what do you think, Eden? Uh, but still, you see companies, corporation, big organization that are still they are in this top to bottom formation, and so what can you share with these big companies that still they have a lot of legacy in terms of the employees, the CEO, the people in the organization, that they're already used to this structure, and again they don't want to change, and they sometimes they're not even aware that that could be a big problem for the business, regardless that the business have been out there. Because what happens sometimes, business out there for so many years, the brand is out there, and it looks really powerful. However, some changes needs to be done in order to live, to be more flexible and to respond to change fast. So what message do you have for the big corporations out there where they have a strong legacy, and they find it difficult to talk to articulate what we're trying to do here, which is inspire leadership within the organization, and turn the organization not top to bottom, but we are working with you. We don't working for you. We're working with you.
Mhm. Well, that's a really great question. What I would encourage the leadership of those large organizations to do is to really work within the teams, right? There, so even in a very large organization, not everybody's on, like we have divisions, we have departments, we have different areas of responsibility. And so each of those areas of responsibility, that work group can have its own vision of what its goals are and objectives are, and its own culture within that team. So you can build a series of those small boats that have the ability to pivot within the construct or the framework of that very large organization, and where there's alignment to top priorities. You know, if the corporate goal is 10% growth, then every team in that company can identify what its greatest contribution can be towards that growth, or towards controlling costs, or towards, making things more flexible in terms of operations, streamlining something. Whatever that team's focus is, they can be, when they get in alignment with that bigger vision and have the authority within their team to contribute, then you're bringing that energy of flexibility throughout that organization. And I think also, there is a very systematic process for building in good idea generation, so that we're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall to figure out what right action would be, but to really build in creative discourse and challenge around ideas. So if somebody has an idea and says, I know what our department can do for this year to support the overall vision, we want to be able to test that and have a very established system for testing that. Let's poke holes in it. Let's see if we can, do the pros and cons. Let's make sure we're not investing huge amounts of money in making that change before we've really vetted it to make sure that it's a right process. So you want to build in thoughtful growth strategies and train the team to that, and then the changes that are made incrementally will actually contribute to the bottom line.
Okay, and mental health, because I remember my body actually took a hit in this process that I described to you. Yet the first 2 years, when I was doing everything by myself, I have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. I was angry every time, and I'm eating a lot. You see, and become overweight because of this state of mind. However, even when I remember when my employees told me, okay, you go home, we don't need you anymore, all these negative emotions that um, that I had to face building the business in the first 2 years, it was painful because you see at the beginning nobody knows you, so the client want to pay you very little because they don't nobody knows you, and then the supplier want to take advantage of you and asking you a lot of money, and then that process of growing and wearing all the hats and all these negative emotion and frustration, if that is still in your mind and you don't find a way to to get rid of this. For me, for example, walking is helped me a lot to discharge. So because if these negative emotions are there, can become a physical pain. People can end up with a heart attack. People can end up with overweight. People can end up with, because this emotional pain can become a physical pain. So when Eden, you realize that you have to work on yourself because you own 4 businesses, you have grandchildren, you have family, you need family time. So when do you realize that this is not only become a very good business operator, I also need to take care of my mental health because let's face it, we deal with 10 times with more pressure than everyone out there. Because we take more risks and we're responsible for everybody. We're responsible for the people that do the job. We are responsible even sometimes. Our employees are the only one that can bring the food to a table of their own family. So we are responsible for so many things. So the level of pressure that we need to handle is higher. So when do you find out that um, you also have to work on yourself to be happy, to be positive, to be so calm? I find you very calm, very steady. um, so how you realize that this also a part that you didn't know, that you have to look after your mental health in order to run successfully for business, which I can find it actually very impressive because I know what it takes to do that. I've been there.
Yeah, I think well, it's funny that you mentioned gaining weight. For me, I do that too. Anytime that I'm not doing what I'm working at my best or my optimum, I will start to gain weight as well. It's just one of those my body gives me the feedback like something's not right here. You're gaining weight. So reading the signs and paying attention, like you said, your health is one of the things that starts to go, or your family being in that place of, we miss you. And, it's the old joke, right? That an entrepreneur is the person who would quit a 40-hour-a-week job so they could work 80 or 100, right? But we have that drive to be independent, to have that autonomy. I understand completely taking on that internal responsibility of, we got to make payroll and make sure that people are taken care of. But we have to, it's like being on an airplane where they say if the oxygen mask comes down, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help anybody else. At the end of the day, I cannot be of service to my employees, my customers, my business, or my family if I'm not taken care of. And so I'm responsible for building my business in such a way that I can be healthy and relaxed and contribute meaningfully to the team. For me, I don't know if there was like a particular moment when I realized that, but just an observation, my husband would get tired of me complaining, and being exhausted and complaining at the end of the day. Like I have to find some solutions so that I can bring a joyful person to my marriage, to my grandchildren, to my family. And we get to do that. When we do that, the trick is that or the irony, I guess, is that when we do that and take care of ourselves better, our team actually is happier because we've built a better system. When we are in that growth phase where everybody's coming to us and you have however many people, rather than coming to each other to ask the right questions and get the answers they need and supporting each other and working as a true team, when we're the center of all of that, we're exhausted and other people are frustrated because we become the bottleneck. So
Hmm.
I think the motivation for me is it's kind of funny. It's like I have to take care of myself, not so I can take care of myself, but I have to take care of myself in order to fulfill my purpose, which is to be successful with my business and with my team and with my clients. So it's just a matter
And
of
with your
necessity
family, and with your family as well.
with your family.
Follow
And
us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.